Talking about overdiagnosis and overtreatment, I just want to say one thing that I feel like really resonated with me, and why there's a problem in the cancer industry is because I love how I said industry. It's an industry, is because there's more treatments and diagnoses than ever, but the same amount of deaths. So because of those statistics, you could tell that it's killing the same amount of people. So therefore we're overtreating and overdiagnosing. And what comes with that overtreatment of having a lumpectomy or chemo or radiation or total invasive procedures is it causes anxiety, stress, so much like your peace is taken from you with just a little bit of lack of knowledge.
Not only does it cause anxiety and stress, but since cancer is being diagnosed with people that are so much younger, their treatment also puts them in early menopause. So then they have low libido. They don't want to have sexual intercourse with their partners. They have vaginal dryness. They have hot flashes that someone in their 60s or 50s should have. And it also, cancer treatment increases your risk of cardiovascular disease, which is a leading cause of death in females already. So it just comes with all of these issues, and this patient who didn't even need to be treated becomes a patient of medical care forever, which what I do is so heartwarming and amazing to me because I'm teaching people how not to see me. I'm teaching people that they can do this on their own. I'm here to coach them through it. I'm here to help them with anything they need supplement wise, like any drugs they're concerned about, talking to them about the education.
Or getting off drugs.
Yeah, exactly. I'm teaching them how to do this on their own, not to stay in conventional medical care for the rest of their lives.
Totally. If you don't eat green vegetables, you better live close to a hospital,
as Dad would always say.
So funny. Okay.
It's funny, the jokes we used to cringe at, we're like now using.
Yeah.
The whiter the bread, the sooner you're dead.
Love it. He's always there. It's because he talked about this stuff so constantly. It's terrible. What your parents do and say really matters. We got to remember that.
Love him.
Can you explain what wait, I need to make sure I get this right. What's a multi-cancer detection blood test?
It's really cool. So there's a few different types. When starting Longevity RX, I interviewed a few different companies, actually only 2, that do this. And I ended up going with one that had a little bit more cancers on the blood test for a little bit less cost. And it is so cool. So you take 2 tubes of blood, and they look for in the blood cancer proteins, and they can see if there's any sort of cancer circulating in the blood. So it's an early detection marker for cancer that's circulating in the blood, and you can find this before cancer forms into a mass even. And the company ends up, if someone has a positive result, it just says cancer detected or cancer not detected, and they actually give people money to find out what kind of cancer they have if they have a positive result.
Wow.
But I love the test because I can couple it with things like QT imaging and see like hitting things from multiple angles is really helpful because in medicine, you want to have more confidence in everything you're doing. So the more tests we do, the more confidence we can have.
Yeah, because what I feel like people also don't get told that much is like there's errors. And there's, potential for overdiagnosis, overtreatment. So you're layering multiple detection tests to be like, if I'm going to tell this person it's cancer, I want to be positive that it's cancer.
Totally. And like, I know so many people who have went for their yearly screenings with things like mammograms. We talked a lot about people who are being overtreated, but we didn't talk about the people that cancers are just missed. And like, I have a friend whose mom has stage 4 breast cancer, and that takes a long time to develop. She went and got her mammograms every single year. About maybe like 10 years ago, she felt a lump in her breast, and she went for a mammogram and they said it was nothing.
No way. Wow.
And then eventually it gets all over her body. She has on our bones now, and that's how they found out it was breast cancer, right? Stage 4.
And it's not medicine's fault. Like everything was designed with the intention of really helping people. It's just that like sometimes technologies aren't perfect. And like even with QT imaging, we're so excited with this technology, but it hasn't been around that long. That's probably the biggest con, is just that the number of studies right now are done by QT and people are just studying it. But like you're layering tests too, because there are errors in these systems. Like medicine still is an evolving thing, and just like any business or industry, it's not perfect and it's still growing.
But what I love about QT imaging, though, I will say, is the lesion doubling time, because that's something that's very well known, is that cancers double in size within a certain amount of time. So you can't really like fight that one.
No.
You know, if you can measure the lesion and you can see how fast it's doubling in size, like that's just been around.
Aggressive or not, you're finding out those details.
Yeah, totally. And the thing that I agree, like, mammograms weren't invented to harm people. They were invented to help people. And that's something that's very important to point out, because when they were invented, what they had thought was that cancers start small and then they grow bigger. And as they grow bigger, they're more harmful, right? Like, so that's true for some types of cancers, but it's not actually true for breast cancer. You can have a mass that starts out big and is harmless. You can have a mass that starts out small and is aggressive. It's just not so black and white, and it's not a linear process like they initially thought.
Wow.
And that's why I also think that it's not as successful at preventing cancer.